Rob, what's up, big fella?
I'll say what's up. I can barely hear you.
Oh, hang on.
Your mic wasn't close. But I just want to say this, Rob. It's amazing to me the trust you have that I'm just gonna show up.
See the ones here too. Just turn them all up when we get started. I'll get you when we get on the air because we don't know what the hell button to push. Welcome to my life. How many? 2 minutes. We will take him a little bit closer to the top of the hour since we're starting late. It may be.
Can you hear me?
Nah, we'll get them when we get going.
Can you guys hear me now? They can't hear me. I mean, I can just say what I want. Morning, chat. Morning, PNP fam. Just they can't hear me.
I can't get you in queue, which is how we hear you off the air until we get on the air. So I hear you. I know you're talking to me. I don't know what the hell you're saying, but we'll find out here in just a minute. I blame Lonzo, frankly.
Me too.
Welcome back. The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. It is a little bit after 8:40. Got a little behind the eight ball. Very passionate discussion going on this morning, and we're going to keep that rolling now because we welcome to the show, joining us here on the live stream. He is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. Joins us at this time every Thursday to talk a little silver and blue ball. My guy, Rashad Beard in the house. What's up, big fella?
Can you hear me okay now? What's going on, guys?
Do number one. How about that one? Keep pushing all the on buttons until
all the buttons.
Rashad. There he is.
Press all the buttons.
Most of my career, Rashad, is just push buttons until something good happens.
Something's going to work eventually. Just keep pressing the buttons.
Yeah. And that's true on both control boards and people. You know what I mean? Like, just keep pushing buttons until somebody does something.
It's very true.
How we feeling, big dog?
I'm good, man. I was just saying before we went live, I just wanted to say this is amazing to me. The trust you have, and I'm just going to show up. Like, there's no interaction. I appreciate the trust, man. I really appreciate that.
Listen, Rashad either drops me an email at like 1:30 in the morning the night before, like, dude, I got better things to do, or he shows up. It's one or the other.
Yeah, I try my best, man, but it's just amazing. I don't think many people have that much trust in me, but I appreciate it.
I mean, you ain't let me down yet, big dog. You ain't let me down yet. Listen, anybody that meets me at an away game and shoots brown liquor before kickoff with me, that guy's all right in my book.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you want to do that, I'm down.
Bro, every away game. I'm coming up every New Orleans game from here until they kick my ass off the radio, bro. That's how it's going to go. All right. Let's do this, Rashad. Earlier in the day, Brandon and I were taking a look at win-loss totals for these teams. And you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. The betting public backing Carolina on the over right now. The over-under win total started at 4.5. It is raised up to 5.5, and the minus money's on the over, which means that the bettors believe it's the over. So we went up and down the schedule, and we basically just went wins, loss based on what we know today. A lot of development left, a lot that we need to see happen with camps and all that, preseason, whatever. But I got us to 5 pretty easy. All right. I think 5 was an easy number to get to. I split home and away in the division, 3 home games. I gave them all 3 to Carolina, Saints, Tampa, and Atlanta. And I took losses on the road for all 3. If I asked you right now to give me like 2 victories, 2 surprise wins for the Panthers on this schedule, could you find them?
2 surprise wins. So you're giving me the Giants. You're probably going to give me that one.
I'm going to give you the Giants, but I would let you count the Raiders on the road as a surprise win. I'd let you count Chicago on the road as a surprise win.
Yeah, I think the Chargers is one that we could sneak out. That's a game that's at home, and I think we can get that one. I would also say, I don't know if this is a big shocker, but I think we can beat the Commanders on the road. If you want to call that one a shocker, then I'm with you on that one. I think we can beat the Cardinals at home, so I can get us up. I mean, I can get us up to legit 6 wins. You know what I mean? If we're just going there. So yeah, I think there's a couple more. There's a couple more out there that I think we'll sneak out.
So you just named 2 of mine, right? Like I think the Arizona Cardinals are a win. I think the Washington Commanders, it is a little bit later in the season. Cliff Kingsbury may or may not have found something, but I also am not like, I think Kyler Murray's okay, even at his best. I think he's okay. And the good news with the Chargers game, you got that week 2. They got a brand new head coach. They did not go replace their wide receivers for Justin Herbert. They're going to try to ground and pound. And with Derek Brown in the middle, I'll absolutely take Carolina if it comes down to a game that somebody wants to go 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I think it's a great matchup, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I do. I think that Chargers, like I said, I think that's a 1:00 game too. On the road, they've got to take that road trip. I think we can catch them slipping pretty easily. And I like your Bears. I like your Bears pick. I think that, I think Bryce has got it in for the Bears. You know, the whole trading the picks and was he worth it and all that talk. Caleb Williams, rookie quarterback. I think that is also a winnable. It's a tough one. I think, they've got some talent on that roster for sure. But I think the Bears game is one I would also throw out there. So I can make an argument for 7 to 8 wins. I don't think I would go that far, but right now I'm going to Vegas the week after next. I may throw something down, Rob. I may throw something down on that over 6. I think I may do it.
I'm telling you, get it 5.5 right now. Get it at 5.5 right now. 6 wins cashes. I think you're set, man.
I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it. I think you might. Hey,
I say you guys are silly. And Rob shook his head. I said the Panthers start 0-6.
Bro, he said we're silly, and then he gave the Falcons 13 wins.
That's right. Falcons rise up.
Oh, he's a Falcon, so you can't even trust this guy.
Thank you.
Where did he get? I've been a fan since '92.
Where's Zoe? Where's Zoe? Get this guy out of here, man.
Thank you.
13 wins for the Falcons. Yep. Nah, not happening.
Thank you. All right. Got a couple other things to get into. I don't think we really need to address necessarily what happened, but as far as consequences of it, the whole Adrian Wilson situation, former Panthers vice president of player personnel, obviously arrested. He got canned before that announcement came out. Everybody's kind of like, what's going on? Now we know. Have you heard anything? Is there anything as far as what impact that might have on the franchise that we're concerned about?
So I don't think they're going to publicly say anything about the impact, but I can tell you this. I said this on my show. I think it's a major loss for the Carolina Panthers. Losing Adrian Wilson. Obviously they did the right thing, and I want to give them props for handling that situation the way they did. That situation came up on the 1st and occurred on the 1st, and they didn't do anything until July, 1st of June, and they didn't announce anything to July. You know what I mean? So they handled it well. I'm sure they did an internal investigation. They did what they needed to do. So kudos to the Panthers for handling that properly. And they did what they needed to do. They did the right thing. Obviously, what happened was terrible, and that is not tolerated under any circumstances. So, but in regards to the Carolina Panthers, I do think that the impact will be felt. I think that Adrian Wilson was a guy that was in line to be a GM, maybe not here, but for someone else. If you can recall, the NFL did put rules in place for minority candidates getting hired elsewhere, right? And so if he was here for 2 years and he got another job, a GM job, we would have received two third-round comp picks. So that is an something that many people may not be talking about. Obviously, we don't really care about the picks. The situation is bigger than that, but that is a lesser known thing that people aren't really talking about. I do think he was being groomed to be, and I think, listen, everybody talks about Adrian Wilson. He was a guy that was highly touted from a GM standpoint. He was going to be a GM sooner rather than later. So I think it's a big loss from that perspective.
Yeah, I don't disagree. All right, there is something that happened the other day that I wanted to get your thoughts on, and it's kind of subjective. It's a bit abstract, but I was watching Hard Knocks. I was watching episode 1 of Hard Knocks. I don't know if you've gotten to see it yet, but there's about a 45-second scene about halfway through episode 1 where the GM of the Giants, Dave Shine, is talking to Dave Canales on the field at one of the scouting events, Senior Bowl or something. And he says, Dave Canales says to him, "Do you want to give us 2 firsts for Brian Burns?" And Shine says, "I do not. I'd love to, but I do not." And Canales then says, "What about a first and something else?" And Shine says, "We're moving in the right direction." And I don't know why, dude. Like settle me down or whatever you want to do here. I don't know why, but it bothered the hell out of me, right? Like it felt like, and these guys are friends, they're buddies. I'm sure it was just a joke, a toss off, but it just kind of put Carolina in a bad light. It almost sounded like Canales was like begging him to take Brian Burns. Like, just we'll take what we can get at this point to move on from Brian Burns. And I know that the relationship had soured, and I know there was a lot going on in the background, but man, like, it just didn't sit right with me for some reason.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. And I think all the fans, the buzz around that clip is that we were fleeced and all that. And I get it, man. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. And I think that Morgan, I think they handled it properly. They got what they could get. And I don't think they anticipated that being on Hard Knocks. Maybe they didn't. I'm sure they knew that the camera crew was there and all that. But I mean, yeah, you don't like to see those things get out there publicly. But these negotiations happen all the time, and we're not privy to that information until it gets released like it did. And so, again, I agree with you. I think that it doesn't look good, but that's kind of the nature of the beast, and we had to get what we can get given the circumstances.
All right. I was looking yesterday evening as I was sitting there watching Charlotte, North Carolina for the first time have a stadium full of sports fans, but it was for a South American soccer match, and I'll come to that here in just a second. But as I was flipping around, I came across an article posted to Sports Illustrated entitled "The Conversation No One Wants to Have in Carolina." And the whole premise was Carolina wants to build around Bryce Young, quote, "but what if he's not the guy," end quote. Brandon doesn't believe in Bryce Young. Zoe doesn't believe in Bryce Young. I've seen a good chunk of analysts don't believe in Bryce Young. Look, you locked in with the dude for at least another probably 2 seasons, one way or the next. But if I handed you a microphone to speak to the country, Rashad Beard, in order to attempt, or in your choice not to, it's up to you, to win these people over after what we've seen with spring camps, what would you say, open letter style?
Yeah, as a person with an associate's in knowing of football, I believe that if you watch the football games last year, I believe that Bryce Young, we don't know that he's going to be the answer. We just don't know. There's too many unknowns, but you have to give the young man another shot, given all the circumstances that were around him. His coach that drafted him got fired midseason. He had zero protection. We've upgraded everything around him, including the coaching staff. And so I think that the kid, if you watch the kid in Alabama, I mean, if you watch a little bit of film, you see the kid. He's got the talent. He's been great since high school. I know it's the NFL, and he's might be a little short. There's things that we just can't change. But the kid can play football. We've seen it. He can play a high level of football, and I think that we just need to give him a little bit of time. And I think that he deserves 2 more years just to at least figure it out. Get this coaching staff an opportunity to develop him as he should have been developed last year. Canales has done wonders with Geno Smith. He's done wonders with Baker Mayfield. I mean, if you want a 1-to-1 comparison, I mean, you saw what Baker Mayfield did last year. And we do think that Canales can give a slight improvement, or hopefully a drastic improvement like he did with Bryce and Geno. With Baker and Geno. So again, we need to I understand. We want things. This is a microwave society. We want it done right now. But we have to take a little bit of, you gotta have a little patience. Have a little patience. Let the kid develop. And I firmly believe that everything that has happened this offseason has set up Bryce Young. And it's not just about him individually. Like, we got to stop with the individualism and just like it's all on Bryce. Like, no, this is a team sport. He had nobody around him last year, and we got the support for him. And I believe that that's going to improve the play of Bryce Young. And that concludes my state of the Carolina Panthers speech.
The self round of applause. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I did. Good job, me. Good job. I'm also going to say,
too, Rashad.
I'm also going to say, I'm 100% stealing the term microwave society. That's excellent. That's excellent work. I dig that. Devin Adams in the chat said, can't wait to pull out the receipts for the Bryce haters. And I will tell you, I don't know if you're doing this, Rashad. I'm saving them. I got recordings. I got audio. I got YouTube videos. And I will call if it's wrong and they're right, I'll give them the props too. I'll hand them the flowers. But I'm going to be straight up, like, a ton of people I don't think are saying Bryce ain't the guy because they've got anything to back it up. It's just a shot in the dark, right? Like, to me, it's the same as if somebody who wins the lottery wakes up the next day and goes, I told you I knew the numbers. No, you didn't, dog. You took a stab in the dark and you got lucky.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, people are just guessing out here. And like I said, Canales, man, he's done this. I believe in Canales, and I'm hoping he's the right guy. Nobody knows, but I think he's going to do wonders for Bryce for sure.
Let me say this, because Deontay just chopped up. He said Bryce deserves 2 years, but if he doesn't pan it out, got to be really the way. I've said this, Rashad. I'll give you this, and then we got to run to the break. This is, to me, I know I've said it. It for whatever reason, it infuriates Lonzo. I don't care. I'm riding with it, and I say it. It sounds like a joke. It's not to me. This is Bryce Young's rookie year to me. But it wasn't just Frank Reich last year and the switch over to Tabor. It was also Frank Reich coming off of the disaster that was Matt Rule, which set you even further back than just Frank Reich being bad. To me, I am giving Bryce Young this year as his rookie year, next year as his second, same as I did with Trevor Lawrence. I'm giving him this year as a rookie year, next year as a sophomore. If he sucks this year, sucks, like clearly this guy just ain't got it. Even when things are good, he's not. Then we'll have a conversation. But here's the thing. I didn't see that last year. As bad as his team was last year, there was no point last year where I went, that dude's just bad at football.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's going to be fine. And I believe in Bryce. Everybody else should. Let's pump the brakes and let's see what we got in him.
I dig it. Rashad Beard, host the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on X at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, make sure that you're liked up and subscribed to the YouTube channel. They're live all the time. What you guys got coming up?
Yeah, training camp coming up, man. Got some VIP tickets for that. So that should be very interesting. I'm going to be sitting right there. Nose to nose with Bryce. I'm going to be seeing what's going on. I'm going to report back to the whole audience and say, hey, this guy's legit. So, right. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Lonzo's not here, so I'm going to say what he would say. Oh, you're going to squat down so you're nose to nose with Bryce?
Oh, that is funny, though. That is,
and that's funny. I know. That's what infuriates me is he's got good jokes. I hate him, but he's got good jokes. Rashad Beard, appreciate you, big dog. We'll talk to you next week, brother.
Peace out, guys. Thank you so much.
See ya. That is Rashad Beard for the Panther Nation podcast. Time for a sports flash, and then we're back for hour number 4 after this. After just 3 days of practice, Team USA basketball knocked off Canada 86-72 in front of over 20,000 fans in Las Vegas last night. Anthony Edwards led the team with 13 points. Anthony Davis added 10 and 11 boards, while the American defense held Canada to just 34% shooting on the night. The game came just hours after the announcement that Kawhi Leonard left the team to focus on his return to the Clippers next season. Despite being down a man for the second half, the Colombian national team knocked off powerhouse Uruguay last night, 1-0 to earn a spot in the Copa America finals. Jefferson Lerman knocked home a header in the 39th minute to crack the score sheet. Daniel Munez was sent off in the first half stoppage time, forcing Colombia to play with 10 in the second half. After the final, Uruguayan players were seen entering the stands and fighting Colombian fans. Colombia meets Leo Messi in Argentina Sunday in the final. Uruguay will play Canada for second place on Saturday. And the Braves' winning streak stopped at 4 games with a 7-5 loss to Arizona last night. Yo Jimenez allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th that won the game for the Diamondbacks. The Braves now 51-40 on the season. All right, guys, stay right there. We'll be back right after this break. All right, appreciate y'all sticking around. Shout out to Zoe Indeed. Mark says 3,500 yards and 20-10 for BYU. I think it depends on Xavier. If Legette's what Legette needs to be, I think 3,000. I think 32 is on the books. I think 32 can be done. No, see, it's not a rookie move to go long on the bed. It's a pro gamer move to go, I talk on my own time. I work on my own clock. All right? Don't ever tell any of my bosses that I said that. Because that's not what it's supposed to be at all. But I live like a rebel. Yes, I live like a rebel when I'm allowed to. Might be the title of my autobiography. Here we go. Final hour of the Rob Brown Show on a Thursday morning. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Great to have you. We've been talking a lot of NFL this morning. Let's continue the NFL conversation. Why not? We're inside of 50 days away from football. Y'all, we are 43 days away from college football getting underway. And I could not be more excited. NFL football will kick off on, what is it, September 5th or something, I think? Yeah, September 5th, that Thursday nighter between the Chiefs and the Ravens, rematch of the AFC title game. And I got news for you. Lamar Jackson's winning that game. Derrick Henry's my dog. He's my dude. Derrick Henry's going to be a stud. But in case you were keeping track of it, there are 56 days until NFL football. Yay. That's not even sarcastic. I'm genuinely excited. I'm just having to temper it a little bit right now. So we talked some win totals for Atlanta. I'm going, numbers at 9.5. I'm going to go 10, but it's like a cautious 10. Let me put it this way. On the radio, because I got to make a pick, I'm going to go the over. In real life, where Rob Brown's got to put money down on the books, yeah, I'm not betting that at all. I'm not touching it because they're winning 9 or they're winning 10, and I'm not sure either way. Carolina, I locked in when the number dropped at over 4.5. It has now been bumped up to over 5.5. I would still take the over, but I would not go. If it goes to 6.5, I'm not taking it. I don't think they're getting to 7. I can get them to 6. I know they're getting to 5. I can get them to 6. We'll take a look at the Saints and Buccaneers here in just a little while. But I would like to ask this conversation. What is the team that we think is going to tank off this year? What is the team that is expected to do something this year that we think ends up being the disappointment? I got a list of candidates for them. And I would like to hear who you guys think I'm right and wrong about. Here are my teams that I think are expected to do something and will not. Let us begin in the AFC. I am going to say, and Shane beat me to it, the Buffalo Bills. Here's the fun thing. I love the Bills. They're the Saints of the North. Ridiculous-ass fan base that are super over the top. They just want to party. I love that. I love the smash mouth football mentality of the Buffalo Bills. I'm a big fan. I am a big Josh Allen guy. A quarterback so nice, I say his name twice. I love Josh Allen. I really do. But I think they screwed Josh Allen. They let Diggs go. I don't think they replenished. They went and got, and for the record, I love Keon Coleman. I'm a big Keon Coleman guy. That's my dude. Keon Coleman has been, he and Xavier Legette are the two funniest dudes.
That'll be great, man.
In the entire draft class. I love these cats. But outside of him, they've got Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel's not a bad pickup as a third wide receiver, and they got him on a pretty team-friendly deal. My man had over 600 yards and 4 tutties last year. It's not a bad pickup for a third wide receiver. I just don't know that I know if Shakir's the guy, and we definitely don't know if Keon Coleman is the guy. The surprise to me is not that Buffalo is not going to sniff the AFC Championship game this year. The surprise to me is that anybody thinks that they will. That's the surprise. I don't get why anybody thinks Buffalo's good. They let their weaponry go, and they did not replace it. That is a problem as far as I'm concerned. I love the Bills. I'm a big fan of the Bills. They're, I don't like saying this because you shouldn't have. They're my favorite AFC team. I love Buffalo. I love the attitude. I love the fans. I love the team. I think by letting as many receivers go as you did, not replacing them, unless, caveat, Keon Coleman turns out to be a dog, and I hope that he does.
That'll be great, man.
You didn't replace what you lost. You couldn't do it when you had what you had, now you have less. How you going to do it when you got less? I don't think they can. Let me give you another team I think trails off a little bit this year. I'll stay in the zone. And why the heck not, since Shane's on a roll right now? I don't think Kansas City's three-peating. I don't think Kansas City's that team out of the AFC last year. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. And I think all of us have gotten to the point that we're not betting against Patrick Mahomes. Because Patrick Mahomes was a guy that last year into and through the playoffs, I think all of us kind of expected a downtick last year. And then all he did was win the damn Super Bowl. But Travis Kelce, who I understand said a few days ago, I would like to play until the wheels fall off. I respect it. Can I tell you kind of where I am on Travis Kelce right now? And this is somebody who's been a Kelce fan for a hot minute. I think Travis Kelce is a PR machine. I think he's still a bro. I'm not saying he's not a bro, but I'm getting to the point I think he's a PR machine. I'm getting to the point where I think that dude has an image that he is trying to uphold, because I think he wants to get out of football. Not now, not like he's running for the hills, but I think he wants to get out of football, and I think he wants to go on and be a TV star. Game show host, Ryan Seacrest, Steve Harvey hosting everything kind of guy. I'm about to commit absolute blasphemy on the radio. I'm getting to the point, I think the whole thing with Taylor Swift is honestly just like a PR move, right? Travis Kelce's been seen around London with another chick, just kind of hanging, but they're friends. They're just friends. I think the whole Travis Kelce PR machine is just that. I think it's a PR machine. I think he's checking out. Caveat, because I got one for every team. It's up to Xavier Worthy. If Xavier Worthy is a route runner and can be Tyreek Hill Volume 2.0 in Kansas City, everybody's screwed, because that's what Kansas City hasn't had. Rashee Rice kind of became a really good slot guy last year. And even if Xavier Worthy is just good as a decoy, run down the field and take the free safety with you, take the top off the defense, then Rashee Rice becomes dangerous. But let's not sit here and pretend like Rashee Rice hasn't had a tumultuous offseason. He has. Is he checked in? I don't know. Defensively, they got Chris Jones back, and that's great. But are they the dudes? I don't know. Hollywood Brown's a question mark. Hollywood Brown was brought in to be the one. He will be the one. But is Hollywood Brown a guy that you trust with a franchise right now? I'm iffy on that, TBH. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think the Chiefs. Is this disrespect? Am I disrespecting the Chiefs?
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Maybe just a little bit. We'll see if it matters. Also in the AFC, can I tell you who I think takes a step back this year, although I don't necessarily think it's a big step back? Houston Texans. I think a lot of people looked at the Texans winning the AFC South last year and they went, uh-oh, Texans have arisen. I have seen them listed as a Super Bowl contender this year. What? Huh? It's a good team. I'm going to tell you right now, D'Amico Ryans is a guy I'd run through a wall for. As a head coach, freaking love this cat. Love this guy. This is a dude that the team is going to go off for. Love D'Amico. Like C.J. Stroud a lot. I really do. Think C.J. Stroud's a good quarterback. But I think that people have a tendency to focus really tight and ignore the bigger picture. Because in order to celebrate the Texans winning the AFC South, there are other things you've got to take into consideration. For instance, you got to take into consideration the fact that the Indianapolis Colts were right there neck and neck with the Texans until Anthony Richardson's collarbone exploded. If Anthony Richardson doesn't get hurt, and granted, he might again this year, because I don't know if he learned his lesson. Like, don't run at linebackers, man. But they were neck and neck with the Texans last year. If Anthony Richardson doesn't get hurt last year, I think those two teams might be playing for the division title in Week 18. By the way, there's another team in that division, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had last year a collapse that we would pay more attention to if it wasn't for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles imploded last year. If the Eagles didn't implode down the stretch last year, we'd all be talking about how the Jags imploded last year. Did they get rid of that? Did they knock that off? I don't know. We'll find out. I hope so, because I'm a Trevor Lawrence fan. I hope TL16 turns that corner this year. Because I think this year is the year that you can say you can't blame Urban Meyer anymore. It's been 2 years now. Can't blame Urban anymore. I blamed Urban, honestly, the last couple of years. I don't think you can blame Urban anymore. So do the Jags turn it around? Not implode? I don't know. We'll find out. I'll give you another team I don't think that's going to be that good out of the AFC. Cleveland. Why am I seeing Cleveland listed amongst the Super Bowl favorites? In what world do I trust Deshaun Watson not to screw it up again, right? Forget all the off-the-field stuff. You shouldn't forget off-the-field stuff. We should talk about that forever. But if we're dialing in on football, because it is a sports talk radio show, shocking to some of you, I know. Why are the Cleveland Browns being mentioned as a favorite? Like, what? Somebody explain that to me. I don't trust Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson hasn't played meaningful football in a year and a half and didn't play meaningful football for a year and a half before that. My man has played like, what? How many games did Deshaun Watson play last year? Like 4 before he got hurt. So in the past, legitimately 3 years, Deshaun Watson's played 4 games that have mattered. And yet he threw 171 passes last year. Played in 5 games. Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Indy, Arizona, Baltimore. They did go 4-1 in those games. But he had one game where he had a completion percentage against Tennessee of 81%, 63 against Arizona. His other 3 games were all below 60%. He threw 4, 5, 6 touchdowns to 3 picks, so 50-50. Well, 2-1. Is that the guy we think is carrying Cleveland to the promised land? I can't get down with that right now. I will say this. If Deshaun's going to do it, he better do it with Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy as his top 2 receivers. Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb. Y'all remember Nick Chubb's injury last year? One of the most gruesome things we've seen in a football field. You think that dude's just coming back a buck? I can't trust that. I will say this. I love David Njoku. I think David Njoku is the most underappreciated football player maybe in the NFL as a whole. But then on the other side, you got Myles Garrett, stud for sure. Where else am I looking on defense that frightens me? What else? Cleveland's a lot like Atlanta. All the offensive firepower in the world. They might give up 27 a game. It's good defense. It ain't a great defense. I don't get why Cleveland is being mentioned in there. So, I think Buffalo is taking a step back. I think, let me put it this way. A step back for Kansas City still puts them in the AFC Championship game. I think they're going to be good. It's not me saying Kansas City is going to be bad. I just think it's a step back from last year. I don't think a Super Bowl run is a guarantee for them this year. I think a lot of people, I don't think Houston's taken a step back. I just don't think they're as good as everybody thought they were last year. They were good. I just don't think they're as good as everybody else thinks. I'm not taking them from they won the AFC South to they represent the AFC in a Super Bowl. I think they got another year of building for that. And Cleveland, I don't get Cleveland. I got a suggestion on the text line that said Miami Dolphins. Again, Miami I put into the same case as as Buffalo. It's not that I expect Miami to not be as good as everybody thinks they are. It's that I don't understand why everybody thinks they're going to be as good as they were last year. Mike McDaniels is a wizard. I'm a big McDaniels fan. I think the dude's hilarious, to be honest with you. And I think he's a good coach. But then what happened? Now, granted, they were asked to play the Kansas City Chiefs on the road in a game with weather that was so cold that fans had to get their toes amputated after the game. I want you all to know, if you turn the temperature down in this room to -2 degrees, this show will suck too. But I think Miami last year was kind of in a spot where they were able to surprise some people because they had such a unique, creative offense under Mike McDaniels. It ain't new this year. Unless he just revamps everything, I don't see why Miami's being listed as a big-time favorite either. So those are my letdown teams in the AFC. When we come back here in just a minute, I'll give you my letdown teams in the NFC as well. We'll do that when we come back. Rob Brandon and you, the Rob Brown Show rolls on next. It is the Fan Upstate. You're good. Yeah, so I'll tell you what, Deontay, y'all are welcome to hang around. I don't know why he's still up, but we're talking NFL, man. The PNP Army is welcome to hang around as long as they want. The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate. I have given you my list of teams in the AFC being mentioned amongst the Super Bowl contenders' favorites that I do not think will be there or could see not being there for one reason or the next. Let's do the same in the NFC. Can I give you a team that I am shorting right now that I think there are some people that are going to lose a lot of money on? I think this team's going to be good. I just don't think that they're going to be as good as a lot of people think that they are. I think there is a step back coming. I think there's a step back coming for the San Francisco 49ers. I do. Their win total is at 11.5 right now. I'm not even saying I wouldn't bet the over. They might get 12. All right. The win total for San Francisco, not here. Okay, let me rephrase that. Let me say why this is interesting. The win total's over 11.5. But the minus money, which is decent juice, minus 142, is to the under 11.5. So I'm not alone in this thought. The odds-on favorites to go, the odds are on from bettors, San Francisco to win 11 or fewer. And I don't think that's unfair. 11-6 is very possible. I can see this team going 10-7. The Brandon Ayuk situation, to me, is a bit indicative of kind of where this team is right now. I will start with a few things. Number one, and this, I don't think this is a hot take, although I have been told that it's a bit of a hot take. It's not a hot take to me. Brock Purdy's an okay quarterback. He's okay. He's okay. I think if you took Brock Purdy and you dropped him over into generic NFC team, I think he'd be okay. I think if you put Brock Purdy on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're the same team. Brock Purdy doesn't elevate them. I think if I put Brock Purdy on the Atlanta Falcons, I think they're the same team. I don't think he elevates them. I think if you put Brock Purdy in New Orleans, they're the same team. He doesn't elevate him. I think Brock Purdy's acceptable as an NFL quarterback and not much else. I think Brock Purdy is just surrounded by so much talent. McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. I think he's surrounded by so much talent. They're going to make him look better than he is. I don't get the Brock Purdy love. He's fine. He's fine. But fine's about as good as I'm going to give him. I don't think that Deebo is much longer for this team. I don't think Ayuk is much longer for this team. As far as McCaffrey goes, and again, y'all know I love me some run CMC. You know I like a player if I hit him with a nickname. All right. I'm like the dollar store Chris Berman. If I hit a guy with a nickname, I like him. Run CMC's got a nickname. Big fan. Even leaving Carolina, still big fan because it really wasn't on him. Another conversation, another time. But if you're banking on San Francisco, you're banking on Run CMC not getting dinged up. And while San Francisco has, sorry Carolina fans, San Francisco has utilized Christian McCaffrey better than Carolina ever did. My biggest complaint for a very long time with Carolina was, why do you run Christian McCaffrey like he's a power back? You got to utilize the guy better than you're utilizing him right now. San Francisco figured that out. San Francisco has utilized Christian McCaffrey well, but Christian McCaffrey is also a very tough runner, a very physical runner, a very hard-nosed runner. Credit for him for it, but I would also make the point that he's still a very physical runner when he gets on the outside. If I offered you right now, let's say 1-to-1 odds, even money odd, that Christian McCaffrey plays a full regular season there, I'll even do you one better. Here's a genuine question for you, live stream audience. Even money bet, Christian McCaffrey plays 13 and a half games. You want the over or the under? Even money bet, 1-to-1. Bet 100, get 100 if you win. Do you want the over or the under 13 and a half games? Because I'm going to take the under. For real. I'm going to take the under. Last year was the exception, not the rule for Christian McCaffrey, right? So if he gets hurt, if Ayuk and or Debo, because both of those guys have got to be at their best. If Ayuk and or Debo get disillusioned with this team, which they might, check out, which they might, and George Kittle, who is good, very good, as a pass-catching tight end, becomes like a primary target, is San Francisco that team still? Again, like I said, they are right now over-under win total of 11.5, and it's minus 142 to the under. So I'll say San Francisco. Texter said, Rob, I think the Packers are not going to be good. The division is too tough, and the hype is just too much. Jordan Love only showed a little bit in the regular season. Yeah, I think a lot of people are hanging on Green Bay going to Dallas and beating the Cowboys in the divisional round last year. Or was it wild card round? Wild card round last year? Whatever round it was.
It was the wild card round. It was like all this talk that they were going to do X, Y, Z in the first round of the playoffs, and they toilet bowled.
It's Dallas, baby. That's what Dallas does. Brian says bets on injuries is wild. No. I'm not betting on Christian McCaffrey getting injured. What I'm saying is, if you are a bettor, you better take that information into consideration if you're trying to win. If you want to win a bet, you better take that into consideration, right? I have said already, I think Atlanta can win 11 games, maybe 12 this year. Legitimately 12. Maybe 13 if they go on a heater. I'm not betting on them. You know why? Because their entire season is resting on Kirk Cousins' Achilles tendon. My man's 36 years old. Are you putting a paycheck on Kirk Cousins' Achilles not rupturing again? Because I'm not. When you have an Achilles injury, even if they surgically repair it, here is the reality. If you tear an Achilles, you become exponentially more likely to tear the Achilles, right? Once it happens, it cannot get stronger. It can only get weaker. So same with the Jets, for the record. Same with the Jets. I did not mention the Jets in the AFC last time around. I didn't mention the Jets because I think the Jets are going to be good. To be honest, the Jets might win the AFC East this year because Buffalo falls off, not because they're that good. Unless let me tell you that. If the Jets win the AFC East, it's because Miami tanked too. But Buffalo could lose to the Jets. I'm not banking on Aaron Rodgers for the same reason I'm not betting on Kirk Cousins, for the same reason that while I am banking on Christian McCaffrey being Christian McCaffrey, I wouldn't put a paycheck on Christian McCaffrey not missing a couple of games. He just runs too physically for a undersized running back, right? Jordan Love in the pack. I think it's fair. I think the Packers are getting enough love that we could question that. Here's what I'll say about the Packers, and here's why I would say the same thing about the Packers. I put the Packers on the list, and I agree with that text. That division's going to be rough, dude. The Detroit Lions are not a one-year wonder.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think Detroit is a one-hit wonder. I think they're back, and Detroit's only going to get better. And, yes, we've seen glimpses of what Jordan Love could be, but the key word there is could.
Yeah.
Not what he is.
You got Josh Jacobs, who was a rushing leader a couple of years back, and not the same guy since then. Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed. That's who Jordan Love's throwing the ball to. Luke Musgrave is the tight end. That's the wide receiver core. Is that jumping off the page at you? Is there any of those four guys that you're looking at? Watson had 422 yards and 5 touches last year. Romeo Doubs had 674 yards and 8. I mean, I'm not saying they don't have players. 793 yards for Jaden Reed. Good numbers. Good numbers. You taking them over to Detroit right now? Oh, by the way, there's Minnesota. Now I'll say this. I ain't betting on Sam Dalton. I'm not betting on Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy to carry Minnesota anywhere, but Minnesota's got dudes around them, right? If there's a quarterback who's going to succeed.
They still got Justin Jefferson.
Yep. If there's a quarterback that is going to succeed this year, and they are going to succeed because they are going to lean on my favorite offense, the old Justin's down there somewhere offense, right? The old heave-ho offense, because somebody's down there. I will take a team that's got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison as the outs and TJ Hawkinson, who is a dude, at tight end. I'll take that. And then there's Chicago. And again, big question marks on the Bears. Scratch that. Big question marks on Caleb Williams. I don't know what Caleb Williams is going to be. I honestly did not get the relentless, unending love for Caleb Williams in draft season. I think he could be good. There's a chance he could be very good. Am I comfortable predicting that he will be? No, not yet. Not yet. I think I can say about Caleb. What I can say about Caleb Williams is I think he'll be fine. Will he be great? I don't know. Will he suck? I don't know. I think he'll be fine. But I'll say this. Cole Kmet at tight end. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze as the wide receivers. You know who I do think is going to be good? Rome Odunze. I think Rome Odunze is going to be a stud. All right? I got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen over from LA, and Rome Odunze as my wide receivers. Name me a rookie quarterback in the past 10 years. Name me a quarterback in the last 10 years as a rookie that had a skill position set up as good as Moore, Allen Odunze, Kmet at tight end, and DeAndre Swift. I'm a Saints fan. Cole Kmet kicked every square centimeter of our asses when we played the Bears last year. Name me a rookie quarterback in the past decade that has had the skill position talent around them that Caleb Williams has around him right now. I can't do it.
So they have, yes, Chicago has talent. You can always have, unlimited dips into the talent pool, but it's also how does your coach perform?
Eberflus stinks. He got lucky at the end of last year.
And how do your offensive and defensive coordinators, you have to make sure they all gel together. If they don't gel together, you're looking at another fight with Carolina or, even the Arizona Cardinals for that number one pick.
Matt Eberflus is the head coach. Do not believe in Matt. I know they had a run towards the end of the year last year, but I think that was fluky, and they had some matchups. Shane Waldron, Eric Washington are your offensive defensive coordinators. I'm not over the moon. I'm not over the moon about Chicago. That being said, this is about the Packers right now. Honestly, the Packers could, in my opinion, check in second, third, or fourth in that division. I don't think they can win it. It's Detroit's division. I think they can check in second, third, or fourth. Who else in the NFC? Anybody betting on the Eagles this year?
After last year's disastrous collapse when they started 11-0 or something like that, and then they finished 1-6.
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck.
I say toilet bowl.
I don't know, toilet bowl. I mean, there's still a ton of talent for Philly, but
There's something about it that, but like, let me ask you this. All right, as the follow-up, are you sold on the head coach, or do you think he needs to go, or do you think he's lost the team?
oh no, I don't let him go. I don't let him go. Honestly, I didn't understand. There were a couple of head coaching decisions this offseason I didn't understand. I didn't understand keeping Eberflus when you've got a brand new quarterback. Let that quarterback come in. Because here's the thing. If the Bears stink this year and you have to move on from Eberflus, you're doing to Caleb Williams what got done to a bunch of other rookie quarterbacks. Got done to Trevor Lawrence. In a way, no, not in a way. It got done to Bryce Young. And how did those guys respond? Not great, Bob. Not great. So I don't get keeping Sirianni after the collapse of last year. I don't get keeping Eberflus after the collapse of last year. Those are the big two. And for that reason, I don't think Philly has some big bounce back eagle either. I said they don't have a bounce back eagle. Good one, dummy. I don't think they have a big bounce back either. I'll say either because it's less close. My man James up in the chat, who does indeed believe in Philadelphia and Joe Hendry. I will tell you this. If there's a saving grace for Philly, and I should have brought this up at the get. If there's a saving grace for Philly, it's Saquon Barkley. Now, I will put Saquon Barkley in the same boat that I put Christian McCaffrey in. Am I putting a paycheck on that guy playing more than 14 games? Nope. Sure am not. But if he does, Saquon Barkley might be the piece that you were missing. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, love them as a duo. Dallas Goedert is a tight end. Love him as a tight end. Decent offensive line, and I'm not ready to walk away from Jalen Hurts. What I will say is that the addition of Saquon Barkley could be unlocking that offense, and then it's just a matter of, was last year's breakdown an accident? Was it a deviation from the algorithm, or did Nick Sirianni lose his bleeping mind and Philly's going to pay for it again this year?
You know, I thought when you were saying the saving grace for Philadelphia, and all Philadelphia fans remember this, I thought you were going to say Santa Claus, because they threw snowballs at Santa Claus.
Worst people. Everybody except James, Philly fans are the worst. They just are. Phillies fans are the worst. Eagles fans are the worst. Flyers fans are the worst.
I say Flyer fans. Oh, yeah.
Sixers fans are the worst.
Remember the Philadelphia Soul, the arena football team? They're the worst.
Worst. Philly fans.
How are they the city of brotherly love when they hate anybody and everybody that walks in there?
It's an ironic nickname. You know how in every prison movie, there's like a 6'9", 400-pound dude that they ironically call Tiny? City of brotherly love. City of brotherly love. Let's see. Brian said Barkley and CMC haven't had the protection they have now. I'll go one step further, Brian, because I don't think you're wrong, but I go one step further. I also don't think that CMC and Barkley were necessarily utilized in the most intelligent way. New York got to the point where Danny Dimes would start blowing up, and their response was to immediately go, give it to Saquon. 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 CMC for like a hot minute there in Carolina. And this is actually one of the reasons that I was very let Matt Rule go. One of the reasons why was because for some reason that team for a very hot minute loved running Christian McCaffrey like he was a fullback. No. You see Christian McCaffrey's wedding picture? He's the same size as his wife, who's a bikini supermodel. No, he's not a fullback. Stop. What are we doing? Anyway, so my NFC candidates for fall-off team this year. San Francisco, Green Bay, Philly. I think that's it. Because I don't really think there's anybody else to fall off You got to be on the pedestal to fall off the pedestal. I don't know that there's anybody I really put else that I put up there that I think there's a fall off coming from. I think there is from San Francisco. I think there is from Green Bay. I don't know if Green Bay should have been put on a pedestal, but they're in that conference. That's going to be rough. Tampa Bay's taking a step back too. I love Bake. I pull for Bake, except when he's playing New Orleans. I like Bake. That team has put everything they've got out there. Godwin and Evans are good but aging. I don't know that I trust them right now. Defensively, again, a good team but aging. On the, I mean, Rachaad White, is Rachaad White carrying you if you're Tampa Bay? Because I do think you've got to be able to run the ball. I do think you've got to be able to run the ball in the NFC South this year, right? Bijan Robinson in Atlanta is a big part of the reason that I think Atlanta wins that division. If New Orleans wants a bleeping shot at being in this division, Alvin Kamara's got to bounce back. If Kamara has another down year, the Saints as a franchise are cooked. As a franchise, they will have to blow it up and reboot the whole thing. If Kamara comes out and goes back to being a 1,200-yard guy, 1,100-yard guy, the Saints will be in the mix with the NFC South. In the mix, not win it, in the mix. If Kamara stinks this year, Derek Carr is going to get murdered in front of our very eyes, and the Saints will have to blow it up to the roots and start over. None of those teams get put on the pedestal either. So Tampa Bay's falling off. Philly's falling off. Green Bay is falling off. San Francisco's falling off. All right, so I've given you my AFC and my NFC fall-off candidates this year. Who am I right about? Who am I wrong about? Let's come back, and we will finish this up with a little what the X is going on. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. We're making it up as we go on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, let me take a break. All right, y'all, we back. We in her. I mean, you're not wrong. Trey said CMC is a similar size to Walter Payton. Yeah, but linebackers in Walton Payton's that guy's day weren't the same size either. Packers have always had an aura or mystique. They turn players into stars. Yeah, listen, and that's kind of the Jordan Love phenomenon, right? Like, you're not wrong. And of the teams, the Packers I put on that list because the NFC North is going to be a monster this year. Whether Chicago's good or not, that division's going to be a monster this year. All right, wrapping up the show on tomorrow's edition. We will flip the script. Tomorrow I'll give you my surprise teams in the NFL, teams that maybe aren't expected to do all that much, that might end up being something this year. So we'll do that on tomorrow's show. We'll also break down tonight. Is anybody watching the ESPYs tonight? Anybody care about the ESPYs tonight? I used to watch the ESPYs every year. It used to be it used to be the only award show that I watched, to be honest with you. Sometimes I'll watch the Tonys. Judge me, all right? I like a little Broadway. I have culture. I got class, sophistication even. I used to watch the ESPYs all the time. Haven't watched them in like a while. I don't know. It just kind of, like, even though it's an award show, I still kind of wanted it to really kind of dial in on the athletes, dial in on the sports, dial in on everything. And I feel like it kind of got away from it at some point. So
Is
I'm like,
Manning still hosting it?
no, Serena's hosting it. And I
Oh.
will say I might tune in to see what Serena Williams does. Also, I will say I am oddly enjoying Hard Knocks right now. Like oddly enjoying Hard Knocks with the New York Giants. But there is another doc coming out that I'm all in for. They are doing an what is it called? Inside the Arena on Serena Williams. And I'm all in for that. I love Serena Williams, man. Serena Williams was a GOAT, champ. I am absolutely going to watch that at some point too. Big fan. But she's hosting. We'll see how it goes. I may give it a shot. I may check it out. But there's a lot else going on. We'll get a little break from the Euros. England with the win over the Netherlands 2-1. Controversial win nonetheless. The Three Lions on to the Euro finals where they will take on España. That's going to be a freaking match, dude. Did you see the bank last night? The bank last night might as well have been in Bogota. It was like Colombian fans coming out the woodworks. It was incredible. It was electric to watch the bank rock last night. I can't imagine Panther fans in Charlotte weren't looking at that like, yo, what the hell? How is it not this every Sunday? Could be. I mean, it is because David Tepper brought live music to Charlotte. Hey. Anyway, Team USA last night with the win over Canada. Loved it. Looked like they were having fun, but they slapped the floor and played a little defense. Love to see that. Because, again, it's not what these guys do a lot of the time. I'm not one of these guys that goes, oh, there's no defense in the NBA. Yes, there is. There's an all-defensive team. Drew Holiday's in this league because he plays defense. Derek White was a member of the Celtics, and they won a championship because Derek White was a great defender along with Drew Holiday. They were a team that could lock you down. They could put the clamps on your second string and keep them in the negatives and the plus-minus. I loved it. So I love seeing that team last night. That was spectacular. So we'll talk a little bit about all of that and get into some college sports tomorrow on the show. Be here. It's going to be spectacular. Texture says, Rob, it's no surprise if you've ever been to Philadelphia. It is the most miserable, disgusting place on earth. # Go Panthers. Love the Panther hashtag at the end. Just own it. I'll tell you this. I've been to Philly a few times. I've been to some Army Navy games there. Philly during the day is amazing. All right. I love Philly during the day. I'm also a big history guy. So I loved Philadelphia. But man, like you put a sports team on the field and people in Philadelphia lose their minds. It's ridiculous. All right. That's going to do it for the show. Thanks to Brandon for sitting in for the great one, Lonzo. Glad to have you. Enjoy your vacation, Zoe. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow. One more day, one more dollar as we roll towards the weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later.
I really don't give a
All right, dudes. Thank y'all for being here, man. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Those of y'all that are in the PNP Army that stuck around, please come back tomorrow. We're on every morning from 6 until 10 a.m. for my P1s, my VIPs. Y'all that are here every day, I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you for being a part of it. Help us grow the show. Tell your friends about us. We would like to be famous. Is that too much to ask? Have a good day. Goodbye.